This is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN.Network. And joining me right now is Vered Caplan. She is the chairwoman and CEO of Orgenesis Inc. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is ORGS on NASDAQ. You can actually see Vered do a presentation at our upcoming investor event, the SNN.Network Summer Virtual Event, happening August 17th through 19th, 2021. To register and see her presentation, please go to conference.snn.network. With that, Vered, it's great to see you. It's been a while.
Hi, Robert. It's nice talking to you again.
It's good to see you. So the last time we actually spoke, or the last interview that we published, was back in November 2019. So, I mean, we could go through every single press release and filing, but,
maybe not.
Maybe if you could, some of the highlights in the last, 18 to 20 months.
Well, actually, since the last interview, we've actually gone through a very big transition. And that transition, just to remind you, we always had two types of activities. One was working with hospitals, licensing therapies in the cell and gene area, especially in the autologous area, taking these therapies and trying to move them ahead in the clinic, right? And these are challenging because these therapies are personalized. They require a lot of manipulation and very expensive kind of environment, clean rooms. And we also had CDMO, a contract development manufacturing organization, which gave services to biotech companies, pharma companies in this space, where we did all the development, manufacturing, brought products to clinic. And we were all, for the past decade, we've been very active in the cell and gene area. And at some point, as we would continue working, we really realized the challenges this industry is facing. So one of the big transitions that have happened, that we sold MaSTherCell, which was our subsidiary, the CDMO. We sold it with our partners. We sold it to Catalent. It was sold for $315 million. And I think our partners was happy with the sale, and MaSTherCell was a wonderful company. And the reason we decided to sell it, because we really wanted to focus on what we think is best to get these therapies to market, which is a decentralized approach. And I can talk a little bit more about that and our activity now, but perhaps you have another question.
I was going to follow up right there. Tell us a little bit more about the strategy and your current activities.
Okay, so what does it mean to decentralize this industry? Typical pharma project, you take a product from a centralized factory, it's manufactured, it's sterilized, and it's sent over to the hospital. In these type of therapies, you're taking cells from the patient's body, programming them, you're engineering them, and then you're sending them back to the patient. These are living drugs. You can't sterilize it. It all has to be in a very clean environment. And manufacturing such drugs in a centralized manner poses a lot of difficulties. Just imagine doing all the bone marrow transplantations in the US in one center. Almost impossible, right? So we started developing a concept. Well, MaSTherCell was still ours, of the point of care, and realized with our work, with the leading research hospitals all over the world, that we could not provide them the good solution they needed to advance these products into the market. So we took the whole approach of supplying, manufacturing, developing, running through clinic, and developed a point of care platform where we could actually achieve these goals, but by working at each center. What does this mean? It means you have to manufacture in each center. To manufacture a biotechnology drug, one of the most important things is standardization, harmonization, high quality. So you have to make sure this process is done exactly the same in every hospital you work. One of the issues we had faced working with hospitals is that they didn't even have the right manufacturing capacity, the clean rooms. These are rooms where you work in a sterile environment. So we developed this concept of point of care where we bring together three different pillars. One is the therapies. coming from the hospitals. Most of the therapies in this field are being developed by leading research institutes and hospitals. Second thing, we actually put in technology. Instead of working in clean rooms, very manual tasks, it sometimes can take 2 weeks, even a month for some of these therapies, which makes these therapies extremely expensive. We took a different approach. We worked on automation, how we adapt different parts of automation and adapt them to make them fit the therapy we are trying to manufacture. We minimize manual work, we reduce risk, and we enable manufacturing in closed units where there's less risk of contamination and more harmonization. So the point of care network, bringing together the therapies, the technology, the automation, but most important, of course, the hospitals caring for the patients. Now, some hospitals struggle with trying to manufacture themselves, but a hospital is not a biotech company, right? It wasn't meant to be that. And manufacturing is not just the machines that manufacture, it's a whole platform. It's quality assurance systems, it's QC testing, quality control testing, it's training programs, it's harmonized suppliers. So what we do today, and what we've been working very hard from the moment, and even before we sold MaSTherCell, is to set up our point of care platform and validate it. We work with leading hospitals, research institutes all over the world. In the US, we work with Johns Hopkins, with UC Davis, we work with institutes in Spain, in Italy, I think we have around today 30 different centers that we were working in, even more, in Asia, in Korea, in Israel, in different locations all over the world, because what we want to show that we can manufacture exactly the same product, the same high quality we did in a centralized manner. And we do so by licensing the products for one hospital and then out licensing to all the rest, so we can all work as one network. We've done a lot of progress on this. And one of the most, I think, big steps we've done is developing our Orgenesis mobile production units and labs. We call them ampules. These ampules are mobile systems where we fit in the automation for the various therapies, and we place them at locations where hospitals don't have clean rooms. This also helps very much with standardization, because once you have exactly the same environment to work in, it's very easy to duplicate the process in exact same manner. So as we're working, as we're pushing all these therapies through different clinical phases, making sure they are manufactured in these different locations, we are actually validating the platform. So while we're advancing our therapeutic pipeline, we're also validating the concept of decentralized manufacturing, utilizing our ampules and our quality system and the different training programs and the supplier network, and everything we've built around this to allow hospitals to get these products at what we hope will be a much lower cost.
Very good. So Vered, tell us a little bit about this competitive landscape for this strategy. You know, what does it look like, and how are you different from some of your peers out there trying to accomplish similar tasks?
So, you know, there's been so many really amazing advancements in this industry. And remember, this is a decade-old industry. It's a new industry. First products only being improved in the last few years. So the whole industry is challenged with new risks, new boundaries. And the interesting thing about this, that with these new advancements, there's been all kinds of solutions, okay? Some people have tried to automate. That's wonderful. Some companies have tried to build automation, closed systems. That's great. Some hospitals have built in the capability to supply and do clinical trials on these therapies. So what we do is we do not compete with any of these. We are actually, I would say, the consolidator, okay? Because if somebody's developed a wonderful piece of equipment that we can utilize for manufacturing of these therapies, we incorporate that into our ampules, okay, or into our different centers, and we try to combine it. If somebody's developed a wonderful therapy, great, and they need help getting it out into the market and validate it, we come in and help. you can compare this industry a little bit to the early days, of computers. Remember, there were these big mainframe computers and everybody had to run over to the computer room. And eventually, step by step, technology evolved and the hardware evolved, and you have your tabletop, right? And the software evolved, and they kind of balance each other, right? So in a similar way, this is where this industry is. Because what are we doing in this industry? We are reprogramming cells, right? We're taking cells and reprogramming them so they become utilized as a drug and are able to heal or help a certain clinical situation. So what we're doing, we're a little bit, there wasn't a need for an internet before everybody had a tabletop, right? So you can call us the bionet. So we take the therapies, the software, I would say, incorporate it into the hardware, which are the ampules, and try to make sure everybody has access to as much information and technology as possible so we can lower these drugs and make these drugs available to everyone. Because some of these drugs today, which are life-saving, cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars per patient, which is not anything anybody wants. So I think we're not competing, we're collaborating with many, many companies, many medical centers, and I think we're providing a need for a new industry, and we're happy to be doing that.
So, Vered, before I let you go today, even though I know we could catch up for hours here, but from what you can tell us, what would you say are some of Orgenesis's value catalysts now moving forward for the rest of 2021?
Well, first of all, I think just positioning the different centers, showing we have a sustainable model in this way by the fact that we're actually kind of sharing revenue with the hospitals for the therapies and with our different distributors and partners with the actual supply of products. So this economically is sustainable. And of course, the regulatory validations, manufacturing in different centers, pushing things through different clinical stages, all the things we need to do to show this can work. And if it can work for us, it can work for an entire industry. And we're happy to supply that. Service network.
Very good. Well, Vered, with that, where can our audience go and find more information to follow along the Orgenesis story?
Well, you can look at our website, which is www.orgenesis.com, ORGENSIS. And you can, and of course, we try to give many updates. We try to provide information in different conferences, and we're always available by phone for anyone who has questions.
Very good. Vered, thank you so much for joining me today. We really do appreciate it. Good luck, stay safe. We look forward to the next update.
Me too. Bye.
Bye-bye.